What's good, everybody, and welcome back to another episode down here in storage. Now today, as you can see, the main topic of today's video has come back finally after paint, and I'm going to get into that briefly in a second and just show you what was done and sort of update you all on that car, because I've been waiting for that for a long time and I'm really thrilled that it's come back, but I'm also really excited to show you what was done and just, you know, how it looks currently. But there's also a fair few other vehicles in here that you haven't seen yet that I want to show you. Okay, so the first update is on this little blue Clio. It's not a very good update, unfortunately, and what I can say is that the previous owner removed the terminals for the battery. So a friend of mine came, he took the car away, he was going to do the battery and the fuel pump, but there's no terminals. So the battery is in, and yeah, I've got to figure out what's going on with this terminal stuff. And then the other part to this car is the fuel pump. So this being a very early phase 1 Clio, they didn't put the access to the pump under the rear seat. There is a flap there, but it's for a fuel sender, I think it is. So the pump, to get access to that, you actually have to lower the rear end of the car and then drop the tank in order to figure out what's going on with the fuel pump. This is a Fiat 500. It's an Abarth car, a genuine Abarth. It seems actually quite a lot of fun, but the problem with this car is that it doesn't have any paperwork. So cars that don't have paperwork in Japan are very, very difficult to re-register. You basically have to find the last owner on the V5 in England or the title in America. Then you have to contact that previous owner, and then from there it's possible to reissue the paperwork. But anyway, I bought it really, really cheaply. I mean, I'm talking in dollars, maybe $300, and it's a genuine Abarth. It runs and drives. It's quite a fun little car, but it just doesn't have any paperwork, so you can't actually drive it on the road. Very, very cheap car, but yeah, that's sold, and that is going out today. Now, the more fun stuff. Just behind is a Lancia Delta. This is a 16 valve, so it's not an Evo model, but being 16 valve, it does share a lot of the same platform as the Evo. So it's basically a racing car. It's a full tuned, engine is built, full-on racing car basically. So I'd like to do a video on this car, so I'm not going to show all of it today, but at some point I will. And then over here we've got a X-Trail. Now these are kind of becoming popular because they have the SR20 engine that you would find in a Silvia, which means it's turboed, and it actually has more power than the variant in a Silvia, so for an off-road vehicle. And then just in front we have another one. Both of these cars belong to very good friends of mine from the USA. They like to come to Japan, they like to do skiing, they like to, you know, have something that they can use other than their GTRs. And down here you can see some parts. I don't usually do parts, but when I do come across some good stuff, I do tend to buy. So these are Jaguar XJ220 AP racing brakes with the rotors and then the wheels. Those are the rear wheels. Believe it or not, 14J wheel on the back of an XJ220. And the fronts are in those boxes there. Most of these cars here you've already seen before, except for the Silvia and this car under the cover. So this Silvia is a very special car. This is very me, I would say, in terms of spec. I really do love tuning stuff. And this car is a 2.1 Naprec stroker. I think it's HKS pistons and rods and HKS turbo. It is a bit of a baller, that one. And I put my GTR size Advan wheels on, so it does look really, really cool. This is the car that I'd also really, really love to talk about. Okay, let me just whip cover off the front end of this guy. Not a car that I would typically go for, to be honest. I do love the Z32. I love that they're twin turbo. I love that they're just so, you know, fat and low and stuff like that. But yeah, typically not a car that I would go for. However, the reason I went for this one is because it's also a pretty big spec car. So like the Silvia, that is a 2.1 just parked beside it, this is a 3.1 Tomei stroker, and then there's Tomei pistons and rods, there's twin TD06 Gredi turbos, the Mission transmission is a HKS dog box. So this car, believe it or not, similar spec vehicles make around 700 to 800 horsepower. So this is actually one of the more built, rare, spec'd Z32s that you just don't really find anymore, and that's kind of why I went for this car. So this one is currently for sale, and yeah, there's just a lot of history with this car. It is really, really cool. The rest of these over here you've seen. There's been a few leave, actually. We're getting less and less storage cars currently. Some of them that have been in for a very long time are gone, and boom, look at this little guy. So this is something that came from the same seller as the Lancia Delta, and this is the car that was on the trailer. So if you look in the bottom right corner, you can see the number plate is on it. The number plate wasn't on it before, so he took it everywhere on the trailer. I registered it and did the whole inspection thing, and so now it's fully road legal. Total one-off trick custom car, and it's not the sort of thing that I would usually go for as well, but you know, in this case it was just so cool and I couldn't pass on the opportunity. I've never had a car this old. It's a 1972. I absolutely love it. I really love it. So there's a lot of points to mention on this car, and I'm just going to jump straight into, firstly, you can see that the car has the wider fenders. The wheels, I think, are 13 inches. There's a big old fuel tank in here, and it's been fully restored. The other trick stuff to mention here is the suspension in the back. That stuff is just silly cool. And then of course you've got a lot of custom work here too, gauges and temperature sensors and race dash. It's just such a unique little car, but I think the masterpiece comes from the rear, because these cars, they only ever had about 19 horsepower and they were a 500cc, but I open up this, that now is stroked to 830cc, and it uses a K-car Daihatsu, I think, turbocharger. The engine is fully built. Everything on this car basically is custom built. I honestly love it. It's just so fun to drive. The noise, and it's actually pretty quick because it weighs nothing. So this car, I hope, can stay with me for a very long time because it just is awesome. Now, something else that I would never ever buy normally, there is a bike in here. So the thing about this bike is, and the reason that I bought it is because I do love this racing stuff, and it's more art than anything else, right? It's a bit more of a decoration piece. It's a retired racing bike that actually did participate in Super Taikyu events. So it does have legit racing pedigree, and these kind of things are quite cheap here in Japan. So I just, you know, was bored one evening and thought, yeah, I wonder how that would look in storage. And I'm trying to create a sort of wall here just to show some bits and pieces that I've had and kept for a very long. And then I think you've seen the Williams. Again, this is a really, really rare car. In the future, this one might be for sale, purely because the Cozzy's back, and boom, the Escort is back. Originally, I sent this car off for a complete repaint, and it's come back absolutely amazing. I cannot even believe how good this looks now. And I also registered it, I put the inspection on it, so it's completely road legal. I drove it for the first time yesterday, and honestly, it's pretty much problem-free. Mechanically, there's a few little electronical issues that are still going on with the car, unfortunately, but over time, I'm gonna fix those. Paintwork now is not faded, it's just all perfect. Really, really well done. Likes to see them on the road. Main trip is going to come up this weekend. I'm going to take it to Tokyo and show it off a little bit, and hopefully everyone likes to see them on the road, because there's just not many of them left at all on the road now. I also bought some maintenance parts. You can see there's a new K&N cone filter. I put spark plugs, oil filter. I did the basic stuff first, and then soon I want to get a cam belt done, and I wouldn't mind lowering the car a little bit more as well. But one of the main fun things that this car had whilst it was away was a complete underbody restoration. But it was basically everything on the underside was taken off, and the whole car was treated and painted red. So it's come back absolutely amazing. There's some new parts under there as well. I could not be happier with how this car looks, and I'm so happy that it's finally back. I added this Escort RS steering wheel in there. Of course, got the Compomotive wheels and new tires, and then the front aero was also added as well. It's just such a cool car. So the plan today is, after the video, I'm going to detail the engine bay a little bit because it looks a little bit dusty and old. Just going to clean up some of these tanks and the bits that I couldn't get to before. The first drive, I was so surprised. I expected some hiccups. I expected something to be, you know, not nice or not leaving me with much confidence, but you can just tell when a car hasn't been thrashed about. And this car, I think, is one of those cars because the gear changes were really, really smooth. There wasn't any clunking, there was no smoke, there was no oil leaks. Just the pickup as well. The pace of the car was really, really good. It wasn't hesitant. It's just awesome. It was a great experience. So I really, really want to keep hold of this one. I mean, you never know. Everything is for sale, right? Is what people say, but this honestly is a car that I'd really, really love to keep hold of, which unfortunately means that, yeah, Williams there may have to sell in order to keep this little guy. There you have it. She's back. I've got some parts to put on it today. I've got a load of parts behind the X-Trails, parcel shelf, and all these sorts of things to put back on the car today and just detail it a little bit. But yeah, that is a seriously, seriously cool car. Okay, everybody, thank you very, very much for watching. I'm going to try and pick out a few of these cars for the next upcoming videos, just to show you a little bit more about each one, specifically this little guy behind me. So anyway, please stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be a little bit better because I'm going to get into detail on probably this car first, I would say. And then, yeah, we'll move on to another cool car, and I'll show you also what's happening here in Japan. Hopefully this weekend, when I take this car out, I'll make another video and just show you a bit more of Japan and see if I can get some reactions to this car out on the road. So until then, stay tuned.